Back UNC.
And it's back to deal with the PNM. And to you on the radio, and to you watching on TV, do not adjust your dial. It is Anil you're seeing right here, live and direct. Never went anywhere. Because the douglAR could talk either way. Because the douglAR could talk either way.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Happy Corpus Christi to the entire Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Happy birthday. Like there are 5-year-olds, I'm very impressed, who are interested in politics. First there was Alexander. Now there's a 5-year-old out in Brampton, Canada. Jashery, Liam Jashery. Good evening, young man. You like politics? That's very good. Read your books. Be careful which newspapers you read. Read everything. Read. Don't only go on laptop and tablet, right? So, happy birthday. It's also his birthday. Liam Jashery from Brampton, Canada. We started one time. On Tuesday, we had a marathon. Like Emil Zatopek, long distance runner. Benisa Bekele. Them kind of people. But today we sprinting. We sprinting like McDonald Bailey. Like Jesse Owens. We sprinting like Hazy Crawford in 76 coming up. All you want to hear all? You could hear Alan Wells. You could hear Carl Lewis. Well, you could go Ben Johnson, then disqualify Linford Christie. Then you could get the Canadian Donovan Bailey, Maurice Green. And you're coming back up to Tyson Gay. Then you have Usain Bolt, the world's greatest. So we sprinting today. Let me start it one time. Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, said in his Corpus Christi message, he said it's time to connect with our hearts. Well, you know, election in the air because he now wants to connect with his heart. His heart had disappeared, not called a heart, you know. His heart disappeared for 4 years and 10 months. Now he says, let's read this, you know, because it is quite amazing. I could tell all you, I have a deep dislike for Keith Christopher Rowley for many reasons. Because he represents everything that I detest. Okay, he's not proud of who he is. He's ashamed of who he is. He has no gumption. He could lie on people left, right, and center and keep a straight face. Look at how many hours. Radio, TV, internet, now Facebook, YouTube. I have information. I talk about Keith Christopher Rowley. Not one day, not 1 second, not one moment do I tell a lie on Keith Christopher Rowley. You understand? That man is just open him out and everything drop out. It's untrue. It's very sad. The Prime Minister has called for a new beginning, for citizens to forget differences of race, color, class, gender, and geographical origin. Is this man very serious? On Sunday, the last time I checked, today is Thursday, this statement was given out. Yesterday, I heard an echo, they actually turned on that thing, my mouth big. Yes, today is Thursday, he would have done his statement yesterday to make the papers today. So Wednesday, he has not condemned Maxi Coffey, a member of parliament for Lauketa Talparo, who made the most racist, vile, disgusting, unsubstantiated claims in a letter. And he's a PNM MP and a PNM parliamentary secretary. Thank you to Senator Obika for filling me in with that information. He's a parliamentary secretary, also draws in more pay for no work, and then spews racist comments and puts it in a newspaper. Rowley does not condemn. The PNM party says they distance themselves. Laurel Azama, you're a lovely lady. Oh God, come now, man. Don't let the douglAR and you get cross swords, all right? Lovely, intelligent, bright lady. Cool yourself. You're in the wrong party, but good for you, behave. Don't get involved in this kind of nonsense with Rowley. So Rowley says, we must now forget our differences and forget race and color. This is the man who just the other day tell us about the Indian Prime Minister in Guyana closed the border. This is the man just the other day, 4 weeks ago, who used the term recalcitrant minority. One of the most, and Professor Kucho, give me a rest now, give the douglAR a rest. Don't try to rewrite history or the analysis with an election coming around. When Dr. Williams used that term recalcitrant minority, it was his heart pouring out for political reasons. He wanted to keep it separate. He wanted to keep Indians down and out of politics so that he could control the corridors of power, and that's what he did. Anybody who tries to say different is just being dishonest. Rowley comes today to say Corpus Christi. Well, this is a religious holiday, a spiritual thing, a Christian thing. Christians don't accept lying just so, Rowley. You giving a message on a religious holiday and lying? I saw citizens recognizing the common humanity. He's talking about the citizens and how great they. Yes, you now see their humanity. But we didn't see your humanity for 4 years and 10 months when you cut children laptop, you cut their school feeding, you cut their textbook, you cut everything to do with children. You cut special needs children, funding for special. All you take a deep breath in. I know I'm going fast today because this is a sprint. But think about a human being who will see a budget, approve money for Casabon painting, not Obika painting, not Masimbak painting, not Touré painting, but Casabon painting. See why I could never like he? You understand? He see money 3 million for a half a golf course because he just play golf in Chagarama. A half a man is a half a golf course, 9 hole. He get money to give his Johnny Sukara and his attorney general who lost 26 case straight. You could imagine you have a football side and they lost 26 games straight. You feel that man still have a walk? After about 8 losses, you're fired. That man reached 26 losses, Everybody beating he like a second pan. But he has 61 million for Al Rawi. He has 7 million for Franklin Khan. He has money to build 18 million to build a house for himself in Tobago as the Prime Minister's residence. He had money to fix President's house, 105 million. But you did not have. So you imagine the human being sitting down, making budget cuts, and cut spending for special needs children, cut grants for parents with children with autism. Cut. Imagine how you see that. Like, if a normal human being with a heart, see, special needs funding, Special Olympics, special needs, Paralympics, funding for special needs schools. That will automatically twitch in a normal human being brain. That they're cutting. We go cut everything, including my pay. You could cut my car. You could cut my house. I go eat chicken instead of steak. I go cut everything else. I go fire Al Rawi and cut her salary. Fire Small Bin and cut her salary because them wasting time. But I will never cut special needs children. That man wants special needs children. Cut that, yes? And this is the man giving you a Corpus Christi message today. Keith Christopher Rowley, save your message for somebody who want to listen to your drivel now. You are such a disgrace as a human being. But yet I wouldn't come and lie on you. You want to hear a lie? Rowley say he built this. Now for a man to stand up there, knowing Arimians know for years Arima is PNM. Roger Samuel win with the partnership. All the years, for 50 years, Arimans want a hospital. Kamla get the hospital, went through the whole process with Fuad Khan and so on, get the hospital, do the tender, award the tender, get the thing, break the ground, going ahead and starting. Rowley say by the time Kamla lost the election because of Rowley email gate lies and all these other lies on Kamla, the hospital was about 72% finished. Rowley do 28% and say he built it. And he didn't even say, well, they started it and we completed it. We built it with we money, the PNM. How can a human be? All you could vote for a man who could stand up there and lie. All you know the truth. That's like me telling you I wearing a red jersey now. This is like me telling you I really doing this show from in Pity Valley when I down in South by Atlantic Studios. But hear this man now. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has called on citizens to be more appreciative of Trinidad and Tobago's healthcare system. But anytime he gets sick, he jump on a plane and he gone with his visa out in California. So let me ask you this. If we are to cherish something, cherish is a very serious word, you know. Cherish is greater than love. Cherish is nearly bordering on obsession. Cherish is something that you treat to perfection, to the best of your ability. So the leader of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago is telling you inside it, when you go and sleep in the hallway, when you don't even get your Panadol in a plastic cup, when you go to St. James and you can't get your oncology drugs because he cut funding for that, when you go to the hospital and have no bed, when he closed down Augustus Long Hospital by Petrotrin, when the health system is in a total and complete mess, he telling you with a straight face that you all are disgusting, you all must cherish it. Well, if you cherish it so much, shouldn't the leader who is in charge of the system utilize his cherished system? But in the last 4 years and 10 months, you've gone away about 4 times to see about your health. But telling we cherish that. That's like a grandfather telling his grandchildren, you must cherish ladies, you must cherish women, you must be chivalrous, you must always open the door for your ladies, no matter if they're more intelligent than you, no matter if they're making more money than you, that's acceptable. But treat women with respect. And he walk in the kitchen and Granny cooks stew instead of curry, and he hit Granny a slap bad up in the kitchen. That's how what Rowley song like. It's like only asking me, because I cherish my country, I cherish my soca. If you ask me, boy, you had 30 minutes of music left in the world. What? You could only choose one genre of music. What you could choose to hear for this last 30 minutes of music? I want to hear soca. I want to hear Marshall. I want to hear Destra. I want to hear Bungie, Faye and Kess. I want to hear Voice. I want to hear Skinny Fabulous. I want to hear Sparrow, Kitchener Shadow. I want to hear soca. I want to hear Super Blue. But if you ask Rowley that, he go say yes, cherish soca, but he go choose rock. And this man is serious. Everything that comes out his mouth is disgraceful, distasteful, and disdainful. Here, next one. Winford James now, in today's Express. My goodness, Winford James is attacking Keith Christopher Rowley. for his dismissal, his frivolous, flippant dismissal of Tobago, the legislation for Tobago autonomy and Tobago self-governance. That Rowley went on Channel 5 in Tobago and just said, we wouldn't get the requisite support for that from the opposition, so we're not bothering. Winford James, who was a teacher in Tobago back in 1969, when Rowley was a teacher, and the girl of 16 years old got pregnant, Winford James was there. Winford James was there with Rowley. Winford James for 4 years and 10 months, supporting Rowley. But now he writes, let me read some Winford PNM James, so you know. Dr. Winford James. When in the most recent interview with Brother B on Tobago Channel 5, Rowley announced that he would not be taking the Constitutional Amendment Tobago Self-Government Bill 2018 back to Parliament. I could not believe my ears, says Winford James. I still can't. You sure you can't? Because I can. Because that's how Rowley has treated Tobago since he swore in on September 8, 2015. The sea bridge collapse. He suffered Tobago. Winford James, didn't say nothing. They tell you about they have plenty of water and almond milk and all kind of thing in the shelf. Tobagonians not suffering. Kelvin Charles telling Tobagonians that separation is good. It builds character. Hey, in Trinidad and Tobago, I can't make this stuff up, you know. All you feel is fiction I talking. In 2020, in the last year of his administration, Dr. Rowley tells his viewers, casually, offhandedly, if you please, that he doesn't have the required number of seats that will get the bill passed, and so he's not bothering. Unbelievable, says Winford James. Winford James, but you are agreeing with the douglAR now? You now see that, Winford James? You didn't see that when Colmimbert was coming to take people land to build an airport and wasn't discussing with the chief secretary? You didn't see that when Rowley had Kelvin Charles down on the ground, sitting down like a pleb, while Rohan and Stuart Young on a stage talking down to the chief secretary? You didn't see that when they were going to give Tobago land away to Butch, the Jamaican man? You didn't see none of that? You didn't see when they give Tobagonian a badge to put the vessel, the van and thing on, all kind of salt water in the jet stream, salt water in the diesel tank, Tobagonian vehicle depreciating from 2 barges that take about 14 days. They swear when they reach Tobago, they thought it's USA they reach. They pull out their passport to see if they have visa. It takes so long. Winford James, the PNM House of Assembly could not get the government and Parliament to pass such a bill. Not even when Patrick Manning was Prime Minister, exactly. And that's the way the PNM is. The PNM controls Tobago since 2003. And the PNM disrespects Tobago since 2003. And you now realize in 2020, in June, that Rowley disrespect his own country. Did you know that Rowley was the Minister of Marine Affairs back in Manning's cabinet in 91 to 95? Did you know that, Winford James? How come no marina has been built in Tobago? Tobago has the most beautiful fisheries, the best, most exciting sport fishing, food fishing, anything fishing, and there is no marina. A marina would create an industry for Tobagonian, for mechanic, engineer, captains, people stocking, cleaning, all of this industry in a marina. So how come Keith Christopher Rowley, who born in Mason Hall, never built a marina when he was in charge of the Ministry for Marine Affairs? But you now realize that Keith Christopher Rowley is a self-hater. You now realize when Kamala brought the self-governance bill, Winford James, and I sitting down luckily in the Parliament and I am listening to Keith Rowley debating Tobago self-governance. When Kamala Prasad Bisasa bring the bill, yes, it may not have pleased you and it may not be perfect, but it was a step in the right direction. It's a step 10 times further than Rowley. And I was listening, Winford James, you forget? And I saying when Rowley talking, making his points about the nautical miles and what the limits are for Tobago and all of this, and I say, but I hear this before. I call my driver Mamu. I say, Mamu boy, bring my file for bring my folder, boy. And Mamu bring my folder in the Parliament, come in, you know, Mamu come in real discipline and thing, respect the Parliament. And I flipping through my folder, so Winford James, and I found an article just like this with your picture, Winford James. This same picture, you're using that picture about 8 years now, same picture. And when I start to read your article, Winford James, go in your file and check. You made 6 points about why the Tobago bill, why the bill we were making was not good enough or didn't go far enough and so on. You made 6 points. And Rowley used your 6 points with the exact English, the exact punctuation, in the exact order. Now, I don't know if he called you and get your permission. So he either plagiarize your column in the parliament, or you gave him permission to use verbatim. The man didn't even take your 6 point and develop it, you know. The man regurgitate your column word for word in the Hansard. Go and check it and see if the douglAR lie. And you now realize Rowley don't like Tobagonian. Winford James, give me a rest now, boy. We coming back.
Hi, I'm Sean Sobers, your UNC candidate for San Fernando West. I'm a born and bred San Fernandian. I went to school at St. Paul's Anglican School, Primary School on Harris Street in San Fernando. I then completed my secondary school education at Presentation College on Carib Street in San Fernando. And now I'm a practicing attorney at law on Harris Street in San Fernando in my own chambers. I joined United National Congress because I truly believe in the vision of our leader, Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, that by building communities we will build cities, and by building cities we will change our country. San Fernando is no different. In the words of the current MP, San Fernando is suffering from institutional rot. But what he hasn't said is that he is a representative of that institution that has left San Fernando to rot. Let us change the landscape of San Fernando for the people of San Fernando, by the people of San Fernando.
We fed up by these people and all the bag of lies and everything that they're doing wrong. They try.
Let us get TNT working again.
Never wanna take the blame. Be frustrated now, don't wanna.
Now, those say the douglAR say. The douglAR is a member of the United National Congress supporting Kamala Persad-Bissessar, supporting David Lee, supporting Mr. Senator Sobers, supporting all my candidates. This is Winford James. If I have to analyze every column, and I've read nearly every one of his, even when I resigned from the parliament, because I said if you all say that anything happened below and we are living in a higher order of the Westminster system, and I resign as a minister, I must resign as a member of parliament also, because being a member of parliament is the greatest honor. It's the highest order. So if you don't qualify for a lower level for whatever reason, having done no wrong, but having moved to a new level, that once something happens under your watch, that you must move. Now, will you change that level? Because when 22 people in Sawa Corporation get charged in the court, all you will say, the Roberts and them at the Sawa Chairman Corporation had to get locked up. When Tobago House of Assembly, 40 million spent on Manta Lodge and nothing happened and it in Bush. All you will say, the Secretary for Tourism, who is now the head of the PNM in Tobago, Miss Davidson, must go. When they have no audited accounts and no invoices for $3 billion in the THA, and no audited accounts when we were there since 2003, they now reach up to 2014, and money missing all over the place. All you don't say, the secretaries in the THA must go. But when Anil Day, you say, well, they had in live sport, they had a live sport board, they had a live sport management team, they had a director, assistant director, they had people in charge there, they had a sport company board, they had a permanent secretary, they had public servants. And if things went wrong, well, they found out the audit was all fraudulent. But let's pretend hypothetically that public servants did wrong. But all you say, the minister must go. The minister who had nothing to do with anything, who did not get involved. Ministers cannot buy. It's only since PNM reached that ministers could buy and procure galleons passage. Ministers could procure in-cat and hostile vessel. Ministers could now spend billions of dollars on cut-class vessels without the Coast Guard. These are new procurement practices that you all are allowing, but you all are saying the UNC thief and all kind of thieving. How come different standards? Well, Winford James, you never spoke up when Rowley lied in Emailgate. Call a special sitting of parliament. You are such an intelligent scholar, Winford James. You knew that Keith Christopher Rowley called a motion of no confidence in a sitting prime minister. And you stayed quiet. I didn't read your column. condemning Rowley for his lies in the parliament. What a disgrace as a leader of the opposition. You should resign forthwith. Those 29 out of 31 things, even a 5-year-old child who's paying attention to the douglAR now will know that they're not emails. It's a dastardly act. He kept it for 6 months. He didn't do anything. It was a total charade. I did not read you said that. But when I write my letter of resignation, all my punctuation, I was emotional. I was not studying punctuation, so I humbly apologize. Right? Because when you do no wrong and you dream of being in a job and you're performing good in a job and people are getting support and all the 49 sporting organizations are getting funding like never before in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, and 85 recreation grounds have been rehabilitated, lights up, children playing sport. When you bring a legislation to the parliament in sport for the first time to bring the Trinidad and Tobago anti-doping organization that the PNM has not moved further with in 4 years and 10 months. When you understand that they had rural caravan in sport, increase in coaching, the facilities in the gyms were better, they were over, the aquatic center built, what PNM only built that too, cycling velodrome built by Kamla and Anil, the tennis center that only using for COVID built by Kamla and Anil. I am proud of that. I had to leave a job that I prepare for, I study for, I dream about since 1980 something for no reason. So if I made some punctuation errors in my letter of resignation, you had time, you sick individual Winford James, to go through and put sick in a letter, but you did not read the contents and you allowed Rowley to lie and move forward. And now you're crying now? When you know him better than anybody, you know him since 1969 or before, and now you want us to empathize with you? You have upheld Rowley. You have kept him. You have brought him to the position that he could suffer Tobagonians. Listen to you. Let me listen to you while you cry. Why don't you get a Kleenex and wipe your eyes, Winford James? You disgrace. In announcing his unilateral withdrawal of the bill, Rowley is guilty of several wrongs. He did not consider that the Tobago autonomy issue is a national development issue rather than an insular one, and that accordingly views of opposition are necessary, parliamentary majority or not. He did not consider that he needed to explain to the nation in general, Tobagonians in particular, about abandonment of the bill, what it would mean and the aspiration of Tobagos to manage themselves in governance-wise, at the same time participate in sharing the future of the proposed federal arrangement. He did not indicate if and when the bill would return to Parliament. He was needlessly arrogant. But this is the PM that prefers to give short shrift to the autonomy bill. Shameless, shameless. This is you now saying shameless about Rowley. He wasn't shameless when he cut gate for all the children across the board. He wasn't shameless when he collapsed the sea bridge and had Tobagonians suffering daily, cutting off Tobago, the lifeblood of the sea bridge. He wasn't shameless then, Winford James. When he disrespect the chief secretary, when anything Kamla do in Tobago, chief secretary. David Lee built MIC Center, state of the art in Tobago. Chief secretary, front and center, speaking after the Prime Minister. Respect shown by Kamla. You never mentioned that. Rowley and them treat the Chief Secretary like he's a puppet. And I didn't hear you say shameless. So you would give me a little ease up if I'm not interested in your crying now, Winford James. You create the monster to use the phrase that Malcolm X made famous when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and Malcolm X was instructed not to make any statement by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on behalf of the Nation of Islam. He went in a question and answer session, and when they asked him, he said, well, the chickens are coming home to roost. He went further to expatiate. He said, well, when you're a farmer and you know, and when the chickens go away and you let them go outside and you put the food back, they will always come home to roost. So he said, as a southern man who grew up on a farm, I am never sad when chickens come home to roost. So with all due respect, Winford James, you let the chickens go. You throw the feed now. And Rowley has come back to disrespect you on Tobago because you allowed that. You facilitated that. You use your intelligence to attack the opposition. You use your intelligence to abuse. Me, I care about you, right? But you use it on every medium, and they love to call you. And Bishnu Raghunath, anybody who could give an analysis that leans towards the PNM. Dr. Bishnu Raghunath, as I mentioned your name, I've not heard your statement on Maxi Copies, disgusting, racist rant printed in the paper since Sunday. According to Rowley, you have PIP, Dr. Bishnu Raghunath. But let our UNC, let Munilal or Fazal Karim or Tim Gopi Singh or Jolene John or somebody say something that could be considered out of timing. You just jump out yourself to talk. Eh? Doctors. Yes, man. Move it. In fact, let me build up it. Win for James thing, 41 million for 29 Crown Point landowners. Although Crown Point landowners are expected to start receiving their money for their properties from the state tomorrow, they provide equitable compensation for everyone. Chairperson Rhonda Hackett is unmoved by the activity, saying the process is still being rushed. So Tobagonians, they disrespect all year for 4 years and 10 months in the most vile manner. Have a man called Smallpin, all you never know, all you never see in Tobago. Never give a hamper or tin of corned beef to anybody. Never see a goat race. But he coming to negotiate with the foreign butchman to give away Tobago land to make Trinbagonians pay $7 billion for one-man hotel. But they come in to move people, change the design of the airport. The airport could have been designed, the terminal, without moving people off their land. But they so don't care about all here, but it's all right. They know that Tobago is African Trinbagonian, so they will vote. Yeah, but Watson Duke is Afro-Tobagonian too, and the PDP. So understand what's going on in Tobago. So they do a survey, PNM do a survey and realize Tobago East gone and Tobago West on the verge are going. They now start to pretend that they respect you. They now start, all the time they didn't want to pay the people. They're humbugging the people. They don't want to consult the people. Rohan Sinaran sit down, and the budget for the airport terminal went up from 300 million to 1.2 billion. And Rowley and he lying when they open Kamla Hospital and Bolin, but they saved the country billions of dollars. You saved the country billions of dollars to give whom? 3.5 billion, 3.625 to Angus Young. Angus Young, I notice you ain't answer no question yet. You want to write another letter and tell me how your wife cute? Or how your house nice? How you have a duvet? How you have a pillow? You have a wine chiller? I don't care about that. How you get so much work? How your little parlor company outbid massive financial institutions? It's just a coincidence that your brother Smallpin is a power broker in that government. It's just a coincidence. I would never say anything. Wade Mark, I tell you, don't call Stuart Smallpin young no old thief. Do not do that. You must not do that, especially in the parliament. Let me tell you something. If you all don't know what's going on, I see all of a sudden the media has gone very silent on this Delcy situation. What's happening in media? The biggest faux pas in the history of Trinidad and Tobago foreign affairs. Minister of National Security and Prime Minister caught telling untruths live on press conference on at least 11 occasions each. And that story just dead. But don't worry, Guardian, you're sprinting in Spanish, but I'm not sure if all you know what you sprint. In the Guardian today, in the Spanish paper for all the Venezuelans who are here, and let me tell you, 100% of the Venezuelans who are here hate Nicolas Maduro. They hate Delcy Rodriguez. And therefore, they hate Keith Christopher Rowley and Stuart Smallpin, who are playing games with them and supporting Nicolas Maduro openly. Well, in this Guardian, in the Spanish version, en español, las expropiaciones en Venezuela, una estrategia que terminó en fracasos. Luego del cierre, el director del país, el régimen de Nicolás Maduro, a través de TSL, impuso al comer Iglesia Márquez como su director casos similares como el Kellogg de aceites Diana no hay funciona. Understand this. Everything shutting down in Venezuela. All the US companies are pulling out because of sanctions, crumbling, making the system worse. People are not respecting Nicolas Maduro because of his dictatorship, because of the indictment for corruption and narco-terrorism. DirecTV move out. All the US companies pulling out. Maduro hold on and lock up 3 of the executives at DirecTV. And Keith Christopher Rowley is saying, that's my foreign policy. I hug up a drug man. I hug up a man indicted for corruption and narco-terrorism. And as I hug him up, I don't hug him up as Keith Rowley, because if it was just Keith Rowley, nobody cares. You could hug up who the hell you want. But you happen to be the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Your manifesto that we cannot find to read now, people have said that those who have read it said that you have accomplished about 4% of the things. And they've also said that 100% of the things that you have done, like shut down Petrotrin, collapse Point Lisas, no water, given global finance all of this work to do, built all these ridiculous projects that did not help with the Big Seven and the Red House completion so you could go back and gallery yourself and President's House and these nonsensical things that should have been done after real infrastructural development that can increase the productivity and increase the GDP and produce growth in the economy and therefore increase non-oil sector revenues, tax revenues to the government so that the deficit of brain does not equal the deficit in billions in the budget. Do you know that the deficit in the PNM cabinet equals the deficit post-COVID of the budget? Is about 15 billion worth of duns in the PNM. We're coming back.
Hi, I'm Marsha Walker, your UNC candidate for Diego Martin West. I'm a wife, a homeschooling mom of 2, and a passionate Christ follower. I'm from Big Yard Road, Carenage specifically, and I totally enjoyed growing up there. That's where all my family's from. I loved going next door. Auntie Judy's pilau is the best. I loved learning to cook roti with Auntie Jenny. You know, she still actually teaches even my own daughter to sew. That kind of environment. I mean, Auntie Mona is just so incredibly supportive, and I just love the support, that family environment that I grew up with in Big Yard. When I had to make a choice as to which party I would serve Trinidad under, hands down, it was the United National Congress. Of course, I mean, I think, well, I'm a woman, and Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, I've looked at her when, again, she thinks that I'm not looking. And there is this balance. There is a really amazing balance. I mean, she is such a powerhouse, but then you feel her compassion all at the same time. And, you know, those things, those are the kinds of things. A major one for me was the open door policy. I mean, I'm not related to any financiers. I didn't grow up anywhere fancy. My parents aren't any fancy anybody. You know, I am just a humble mom with a heart that really wants to see change. I want our country to be better for the next generation. And they were open to me serving. Now is the time. Vote for representation that will lead with a heart. Vote for representation that cares about you, that understands you, that grew up where you grew up. We know, I know what you face. Now is the time. It is time to put fresh ideas, fresh faces. Vote for me. I promise you, I will not let you down. Stand up for TNT. Now is the time. Let us fight for TNT to give our children a better future.
Just to recap, the whole world running from Maduro because they realize that ship sink, that he's a dictator, that he has disrespected the constitution of Venezuela. Listen to this next article. Guardian, you printing this, but then trying to support Rowley and Moses, who take 2 blue tablets from St. Anne's to come and talk nonsense about our foreign policy, which affects each and every one of us. Not them alone in the Balize house, you know. If it was just Balize house, nobody cares. But it's the red, white, and black of Trinidad and Tobago that them clown representing. Listen to this. España suspendió los contratos de armas con el régimen de Maduro. Spain has suspended all contracts for arms and weapons to Maduro. El gobierno español negó la ampliación del contrato de modernización de los carros de combate de origen francés del ejército venezolano que por 20 millones de euros tenía una empresa española. España suspendió los contratos vigentes relacionados con armamento y material militar que mantenía con el régimen de Maduro. Spain, the closest ally. Venezuela is sometimes referred to as pequeña, España pequeña, small Spain, little Spain. Spain suspend all of that and stop in business. But Rowley and Stuart Young carrying small pin, Young carrying us into an incestuous relationship with them. All you go ahead, cuss the douglAR. The douglAR don't want to go USA, no? I good right here. The only time I might want to go there is when my daughter get a little older, in about 6 years, and she want to go Disney World and see, but we don't have that. But other than that, I good right here. But it's all my Belize people, all my PNM people love USA. Any chance you get, you want to go and line up for visa, all you go ahead. Because it's not funny. Let me ask the Mr. Davlin Thomas of the NCRHA. He gallerying himself because he's saying that there was information about a quotation for 541,000 for 210. And he gallery and he say, well, that wasn't an invoice, it was just a quotation. And he want to sue people and so on. Davlin Thomas, slow your roll, clown, right? You could fool some of them. But understand this, answer this question before you rush in to play holier than thou, Davlin Thomas. If you call for a request for quotations, how many quotations, how many companies did you request quotations from? The douglAR knows. And I have some of their quotes right here. So before you talk, cool yourself. So that request for quotation, you may call it a request for quotation. That's called a tender. So when you called in these companies for request for quotation, how is it, Davlin Thomas, that a quotation coming from a company that was so inflated that any normal human being who did not have ill intent would throw away that one time? Because I have right here 3 different companies that quoted between, for 210s, 40 by 40, for 30 days, 119 to 145,000. So if the average is down there between 120,000 and 150,000, and you see a quote from douglAR Tent Rentals for 541, wouldn't you do this? douglAR Tent Rentals? But them mad. So Mr. Davlin Thomas, why did you not do that? Why did you instead do, 541,000 for 240 by 40 tents? This seems to be about 420,000 above all the other quotes I have. Let me call this company and negotiate. So slow your roll with who you're suing, boy. Because Gary might be coming just now, Davlin. So take your time. Don't jump on no high horse. You understand? Because it was a quotation and it wasn't an invoice. Slow your roll. How you determine to negotiate with the person who put in that insane bid? Why you call them? It don't work so, Davlin. You see? I got a little nervous there now. So cool yourself. Professor Julian exits UTT. Keith Christopher Rowley believes that Ken Julian is the guru, is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Remember 2 years ago in Hilton, he made his speech. He said his wife buffed him. And the only good thing about Rowley is his wife is a lovely, intelligent lady. Poor thing. He said how his wife buffed him because he forced old Professor Ken Julian, who does only come back Trinidad and come up into the highest echelons of power when PNM win. When PNM lost, you don't hear about Ken Julian. We don't know where he does go. If he go Malta, if he go and relax on the beach in a Speedos, we don't know where he does go. But as soon as PNM win, Ken Julian does land back and come into all kind of thing. When it was in 91, he reached back. After 86, he started to do all kind. But that time he did go there. He do the gas and thing. But before that, he was trying to privatize Wassa with 7 Trent. Or you forget that. Then when Manning come back in 2000, he tried to give his smelter. He put on a electricity plant that we didn't need electricity and sign a take-or-pay agreement that we had to take the electricity even if we had nowhere to plug it in. That was Ken Julian. And he started with the UTT. But UTT was good. But the over expenditure. Then he went E-Tech with the bamboo networks, 31 million, where Christine Sahadio, the minister in the Ministry of Finance, told him, do not invest in that company. Ken Julian say, fire burn you. Is the czar. He invests and all lost 31 million TT dollars of your money. And you know what the PNM did recently? Throw out the case. They withdraw the case where the government was trying to get back money from Ken Julian for you to get back your money. And you all say that's okay. You all mightn't even know what Anil talking about because it goes a passant. Just like how they pull the case out of court with Malcolm Jones to recoup some $3 billion. They just pull it out because a certain lawyer who gave a long 10-page opinion that he was asked for to say why the case could be successful, when the government changed, he gave a 2-paragraph, not asked for his opinion, and say, well, that case I go work. And that is the people that you all have running this country, and you all find it's okay. And Winford James, you find it's okay. And Martin Daly, you find it's okay. Because you find that the UNC and Kamala look bad because them went to tell tales to the US Embassy. You say that on a Jamaican news show, Martin Senior Counsel Daily. All your brains turn into mush because of Balize juice. You all have no shame. So Rowley says people health come first. He attack Kamala. Because Kamala say, hey, don't play this closed border pandemic thing. You are the worst prime minister in the history of the country. The people are waiting and itching to vote you out. People all down in Library, point 14, all you don't get shocked, you know. Remember you heard it here first. Do not get shocked. If Library turn from red to yellow, don't get shocked. Because the young black people are not taking no race politics. Hunger has no color. When you go in the grocery and you push your hand in your pocket and you come up empty, the color of your skin don't matter, you know. You need to dip and see something, whether a blue note, a mauve note, a gray note, 2 green note, or 20 red note. You need to see them colors to buy your food, to buy your grocery, to play your sport, to get investment, to get jobs. So people not on that again, so all you don't feel shocked, you know. So Kamala say, well, open the border, don't play. You call in election and border close, you know. Well, Rowley, anytime Kamala speak, Rowley seems to, you know, I don't know. He seemed to have a problem with women, strong, intelligent women. It seemed to bother him. I don't know why. Because he's come out stronger. Except if they're white, eh? If it's like the Queen and white executive of BPTT or BHP Billington, so he's like a little child in a candy. So eh? But when he's talking to black people, or when he's talking to Kamala, because Indian and brown, Indian, black, same thing. But every time Kamala talk, look at this woman, look woman leave me and drink me rum. Eh? Where you was drinking up in the CPL? Eh? Where you was doing when you was whining down in South? So you don't drink, Rowley? When you was getting on in the golf course with that thing I see you back there in 1992, that thing that wasn't looking so good, you wasn't drinking. So I just drink my rum and soda. What wrong with that little drinks? But if Kamala drink, but poor people have breast milk, baby milk grand. Breast milk is the best milk, by the way. But if you don't have breast milk, baby milk grand. If Kamala drinking, but we have laptop and we have 106 school and people could get education and the education people, children getting higher grades and not getting 0 like under you, well, it's best you drink more because you are sober dunce. So here, Rowley, we are obsessed by other things. Elections not being the #1 priority. The #1 priority is to ensure that we minimize our exposure and disruption from a virus in a pandemic. That's what Rowley said a few days ago, you know? But then we see Penelope Beckers get exemption to come in. Why? Why? And how? We had people all over this country begging, some cruise ship workers beg for 9 weeks to come in and get blank, no money, suffering, getting seasick on a ship. But Penelope Beckers comes in And Stuart Smallpin Young tries to rationalize it and says, she came in because she's an ambassador. Boy, when your daughter, she must hush your mouth, Smallpin. So she's an ambassador, so she gets an exemption to come home where her job is not. So she gets exemption to come on holiday. But people like Mark Budden, this man here, who is stuck in Barbados for the last 14 weeks, who now might have to live on the streets of Barbados with no more money, who has spent 5,000 US of his own money after he went to Brazil to train in a higher level of diving to earn more money for his family. He can't come home to work and to put food on the table. But Penny Beckers could come home for a holiday because her work is outside. She's an ambassador. What, she is the ambassador for Trinidad and Tobago in Trinidad and Tobago? Ah, you clown Smallpin. How you work out that? And this is the problem. When you swear on the Bible to be a minister, you're not a minister of PNM. You swear to do your job without fear or favor, without malice or ill will. So how can you justify opening for Penny, but closing for Ross? Even within the PNM. All you don't even know what you're doing, even in the PNM, it's so disgusting. I don't hear you win for James. I don't hear you Vishnu Raghunath. I don't hear you the next clown, I forget his name. They look for him with the googly eye to go on TV6 to bad talk Kamala. He's such an entity, I forget your name, boy. That's when you know you ain't no good. If the douglAR, who doesn't remember anything, forget your name, you know he's a non-entity. So, listen to this. Penny come in for what? Screening? For what? For what she come in? How she going to screen? Because she had to go to quarantine. And if the PNM say they're not doing screening on Zoom or Skype or video call, if she land, how she screening? The screening going in the quarantine? Y'all is lie so much. Y'all have no policy or no care. You feel that you're in charge and you could do what you want, and the media allows you to do it. Desperate times for stranded Trinis, page 16, Daily Express, Wednesday, 10 June. More than 100 Trinidad and Tobago national residents stranded throughout the world have rallied to the request consideration from the government in their repatriation. Nabil Youssef told of 135 TNT citizens, the majority of whom are in the United States and desperate to return home. Their patience has since turned to frustration, fear, as many have exhausted their funds on housing and food. Some of the group's members, he said, still face both homelessness, starvation this week. Someone is saying they have to feed their babies sugar water. They don't have money to buy formula. But you have these people outside. But you opening the gate for PNM to screen, and then you give me a Corpus Christi message to say we must open our hearts to people. Rowdy, give me a rest now. You could open your heart. You who leave a child of your loins for 44 years alone, without your quality time, without even acknowledging your child. The whole your people in the PNM didn't even know he existed. But because Vanilla Allen Toppin made some errors and talked some ridiculous stuff in the parliament, you jump out before the election to say, look at my son. You could tell me I must respect you and my heart must go out to you? Rowley, you? They had things stick on the bottom of my shoe I respect more than you. We're coming back. All right. I need you all to hear this one because I'm fed up. Share the live, please, please, please. I only have 15 minutes. I've gotten through about 60%. I will not complete. But this one, I'm going to take my time because I need you all to understand. I need you all to share. I need you all to have the information because the media, the mass media, the newspapers, it's really sad what they do. They could tell you why they do it. I'm just going to tell you what they do, and I've been showing you all. We want media to just be fair. Whoever in charge, Kamala Prime Minister, Rowley Prime Minister, ask the questions. Put the columnists. Don't play games. Don't try to change perception and guide perception. Don't try to carry the population and the electorate into one way, because through the back door you are making money in other ways in your corporation. If you want to support Rowley, God bless you. But state that your position is that this newspaper supports Keith Christopher Rowley and his elitist policy of exclusion of all the masses, his increasing of the poverty rate, his lack of understanding or acceptance of the need for great education to uplift poorer people into the society and create sustainable jobs. Say that you accept that. Say that that is your position. Nothing wrong with that. But you cannot pretend to feign independence when everything you write, everything you design, even how you drop a story. You see how the Delcy story just dropped? Only the douglAR and Winston Ragu and the Ground Report and Ranks Entertainment and Mr. Ruiz and Suzette Lowe and some of those people keeping it going. But the Express newspaper sells 79,000 papers per day. The Newsday used to, before Judy Raymond, used to sell some 49,000. I'm getting information, I'm waiting for the statistics, but that has dropped off tremendously since Judy Raymond has taken over. And Judy Raymond, I ask you again. I'm asking you, Judy Raymond, as this bastion of journalistic integrity, well-qualified journalist, can a journalist in any country where there are two opposing parties, like in the USA, Democrats and Republicans, no other party, Green Party, Independent, nothing, Democrat, Trump, Biden, can an editor who's writing or who's editing a newspaper that is 75 to 80% politics, political spin, political ideas, political reporting, investigative political journalism, could an editor who was intimate with Biden be fair to Trump? Or could an editor who was intimate and close to Trump while claiming independence, could that editor be fair, impartial to Biden? Judy Raymond, I want to read about the journalistic. You are the expert. I want to learn. And I would like to learn from you, Judy Newsday Raymond. So remember the MFO survey. About 5 weeks ago, douglAR Politics, I told you all, the Express was so disgusting. They printed a survey that was paid for by the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And the survey was printed twice in the Express with headlines saying Rowley doing great, unbelievable, COVID, brilliant, amazing, Rowley is the greatest, right? It was printed on a Monday by Asha Javid. The Express had no shame. The Express knows that Asha Javid is in a loving, caring relationship with Stuart Smallpiln since 2014. Which is more than 5 years, which means they basically, if they've been living together, might be common law. Okay? They know that, but they still print it. Is that journalistic integrity? Does that conform to the principle and ethics of journalism? I'm asking you all because you all know better than me. That wasn't enough for the Express, you know. On Saturday, the Express, the same newspaper, print the same survey, but in a different part of the paper, in the business section, with no byline this time. You see how the douglAR does read papers? But you see, you all wouldn't do that. You all have things to do. You have your children to see about your market, to make your food, to cook. You ain't had time to study who print what. But perception information trickling into your subconscious. Because isn't the perception out there that Rowley has done fantastically well in COVID? Isn't it there? How did it reach there? When we've only had 3,000 something tests out of a population of 1.4 million. There is no curve. There is no data. We know nothing. It's like you have some moles or some spots all over your body, and the doctor says we need to find 20 different spots on your body, and we must take biopsies of each spot, and a minimum of 20 in order for me to give you a full-fledged analysis of what is actually taking place in your skin throughout your body. And he take 2 tests and then tell you have cancer. You're going to pay he bill? Or you'll say he's a quack. But we know. So let me ask you this, changing my direction since I went there. COVID is a presents 2 prongs of pressure, right? There's the health risk, the actual disease, and death to people at risk, okay? But the actual infection, we have to keep that down. That's a problem. But there's another problem, which is economic disaster, loss of jobs, hunger, starvation, social strife, pressure, increase in domestic violence, frustration, increase in suicide, all of that on this side. It's like a surgeon, like Dr. Fuad Khan, Convan Gildy, they are saying, like Dr. Lakram Bodo, like Dr. Tim Gopi Singh. These doctors and these surgeons, not you, your pharmacology. You're a pharmacologist. No, you don't even have a pharmacology degree. You're druggist, not you. I'm talking to the doctors now. You couldn't. They are saying you wasn't bright enough to reach there. Cool yourself. But let's say that there's a neurosurgeon and a cardiovascular specialist, and you're sick. You have a tear in your aorta, your heart bleeding, and you have a bleed in your brain. If the surgeon, both of them as a team, decide, hey boy, let me fix the heart, yes, and then put you in the recovery room with your brain bleeding and you're dead, that mean they did good? So if you lock down a country, when you say your statistics say it had no COVID, but you leave 200,000 people starving, no food on the table, no jobs, people losing their car, cannot pay insurance for the car, they're going to lose their house in the next 6 months because they cannot pay the mortgage because all you did was extend it 3 months, so they actually have to pay more money for their house. Going to suffer, cannot get money to carry books to their school, cannot buy laptop, the total pressure in the family, leading to total pain and suffering. You ignore this and you fail this, and you say that you have done well. How is that possible? Because the mass media is taking out the so-called lockdown. Not even understanding that if you have limited COVID like us, if all that is true what they say, we should have never locked down. Because we should have never gone into this side. You only go into this side when this side is jamming you on pressure and putting you under. But at 8 deaths and 116 positive cases for 16 weeks, you shut down a whole economy and reduce the GDP by $20 billion and put 400,000 people for 3 months out of work with no money, and y'all find that is good? Well, I am not done, so me understand. But you want to know why we think that's good? Because they print wave 2 of this so-called market fact survey. And the wave 2 of the survey, right? Wave 2 of the survey said, and I quote in the Express, the headlines, it said, Rowley, the government has shown great transparency and trustworthiness. 8 out of 10 respondents to the survey said they trust Rowley and the government. Let me read it again for you, because I know you all feel I didn't lie. This is printed in the Express. It's a market fact survey, wave 2. Wave 1 was paid for by the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. I ain't know who paid for this one. Okay? The first one was 168 businessmen, and it was done online. So understand, if you understand surveys first and foremost, the people who are suffering most are those at the bottom of the scale, those with the least money, the least savings, those people living paycheck to paycheck, day to day. They're not online to do no survey, okay? So if you're talking online survey, you already reach middle class. So you're asking people who have a little kakada to ride out a little thing. They're still under pressure, but they could still manage to have food. They're not starving. But the Express article printing the survey says, a high sense of trust in the government has been engendered. For true? 8 out of 10, 80%. I'm asking you all out there. You have about 2.5 thousand people. I'm asking you all trust Rowley? Keith Christopher Rowley? Here the next trick. When I look to see when was this survey done, it's printed on June 10th. So I would say for a survey to be of any sort of worth, it should have been conducted ending about June 6th. So like the period June 1st to June 6th, and you print it on June 10th because you need to collate all the information and so on. That would be a useful survey. Wouldn't you all think a reasonable person would think? Take a wild guess. When this wave 2 Mammagism survey was done, all you don't laugh when I tell you, know. April 27th. Printed in June 10th. But the survey was conducted April 27th to May 6th. But they printed in June. No, I'm laughing, but it is very serious, and it is very dishonest, and it is very distasteful. Hear what they say. And you know, surveys are done with statistics, and you all who have done that in school know that you create a sort of questions to come to a pinpoint position. Surveys are not too much about analysis and philosophy and trying to, when you have a survey, you might use 5 pages of questions to get 3 categorical positions or information on 3 positions. But you might have 200 questions, but you're zeroing in. That's a survey, right? These MFO wave survey, them survey, and them have opinion from, if you like, Lipton tea to coffee, and who will do what in the future, and it's amazing. It's like reading a science fiction. Here are these survey. And while the government has made efforts to promote their transparency, well, Winford James, since you're like sick, SIC, I'll put that there for them, right? The government promote its. Okay? They put there. The effort to promote their transparency. The government, y'all think Rowley and Smallpin who catch lying, lie after lie till they attack the media, and an unprecedented attack on the media because they lie about Delcy, they lie about the plane, they lie about the security contract, they lie about Ashraf Chavez, they keep lying. And this survey is telling us, no way, Trinbagonians, all you didn't live through all that untruth and that lie. Rowley and Smallpin are trustworthy and brilliant. They're trying to be transparent. The sustenance of trust is a tough balancing act. How a survey? You ever know a survey to come to a philosophical, futuristic position? Here the survey. The sustenance of trust is a tough balancing act. Right? It continues, there is need for continued reassurance on the steps being taken to treat with COVID. So the survey, MFO survey, now advising Rowley and them from their statistics, which is supposed to get what actually is taking place in a population, them become advisor to tell Rowley and them the sustenance of trust is a tough balancing act, but there is need for continued reassurance on the steps being taken to treat with COVID. So I filling out a survey, and I saying, hey, MFO, I need Rowley and them to keep assuring me, boy. If they don't keep assuring me, I don't know if I go still feel so good. Why do you all feel that we are so stupid? The survey notes that job uncertainty by people surveyed look to business owners for a semblance of relief. So this is where they masterfully now. So with the COVID, lockdown, stay away, infection, death, they say Rowley, because we had 0 plus 0 plus 0, even though we have no data, okay, he do that good. If all you want to give him that, well, all right. But in the other part, so the aorta, he stitch it nice and it fixed. The brain bleeding, the country brain bleeding. You know what the MFO survey do? They start to ask about people blaming the businesses now. Businesses that were forced to shut down. Business owners who could not generate revenue. They now move the blame or asking people questions about how they feel about business owners. It's not business owners, it's the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody ain't get no salary grant, no business grant, no rental grant, no relief grant. Even by Rowley's numbers, Imbut said 20,000 people of 51,000 got their salary grant of 1,500. Yes, clown, you call me a clown. 20,000 is still 31,000 short. But it don't stop there. It gets shorter just like you call. Because the salary grant was not to be just 1,500. It was supposed to be 1,500 by 3 months equal 4,500. So only 12.78% of the people in 15 weeks have received their paltry $1,500. And you are saying, Rowley is saying the people are ungrateful and they're handling COVID. How can you handle COVID when people are hungry, people have no jobs, people have no way, people are going to be on the street, people can't come into the country, people are suffering, and that handled well? Because the MFO survey says, take all of that responsibility away from poor Duncy Hole Rowley and put it on business people. You cannot blame business people who were closed by the government. Listen, douglAR Politics, Tuesday, we on again. But ladies and gentlemen, children, please read, analyze, understand. We cannot just be sheep listening to this stupidness. Understand this last point as I go. Rowley and Rohan Sinanan and Noel Garcia with Coffee Nice at the EBC believe that they can win an election after being the worst government in the history of the Caribbean for 4 years and 10 months. That they can win an election by gerrymandering boundaries, handing out some house with random draw, but only PNM get anything. It just all kind of people. Oh gosh, it's random. Yes, okay, yes, right. No big thing. And shifting polling divisions into San Fernando West to make Johnny Sukaran feel that he has some greater support. Gerrymandering only works, my people, if the racial political stereotype remains. As soon as we vote without race, as soon as we vote on job creation, policy, direct investment, point leases, diversification, education, sport, then there's no way to gerrymander because they cannot predict our voting pattern. We must have no voting pattern. You must vote on what is right, on what makes sense for you. If children are important to you, read what Kamala say, what she did, and what she's going to do. Read what, well, Rowley and them don't even have nothing for you to read. God bless. Keep the race out of politics. Happy Corpus Christi. Good night.